So welcome back to Brent's Anime News Corner for the week ending February 19th. Almost in November. No, it's February 19th, 2011. Here's the news. The Borrower Arrietty, the latest Studio Ghibli film, has won the Japanese Academy Awards Animation of the Year. Not a big surprise since it was going up against the Doraemon, Case Closed, and One Piece films, as well as the new film Colorful, which was getting a lot of attention, but Ghibli tends to come out on top in these matters. Meanwhile, a number of very well-known, well-respected anime folks are coming together to make a new film called Momo no Tegami, a letter to Momo. And this includes Hiroyuki Okiura, who directed Jinro, Masashi Ando, who is animation director on Princess Mononoke, and character designer for Paprika and Paranoia Agent, the Satoshi Kon works. Toshiyuki Inoue, who is a key animator on Akira, character designer in A Tree of Palm and Magnetic Rose, also the animation director on Satoshi Kon's final film, Yume Miru Kikai. That's a tough one. Also, Takeshi Honda, who's the animation director on Evo 2.0, and character designer for the Beyond segment in the Animatrix, as well as character designer for Blue Submarine No. 6 and Denno Coil. Very cool. So they're all collaborating on this feature-length anime film, A Letter to Momo, and it will be coming out sometime. That's a pretty impressive group, so we'll see where that goes. Meanwhile, Section 23 has announced they have licensed a few things, including Coffee Samurai, Hoshizora Kiseki, which is this little short anime film, and Allison and Lilia, which is an anime from a couple of seasons ago, I believe by the writer of Kino's Journey, something along those lines, or at least some of the folks involved in Kino's Journey is on that, as I recall. Anyway, it's a nice sort of action-adventure-y story. So those will be licensed and coming over here to America and the world beyond. Meanwhile, a new Last Exile TV anime is coming. That's right. The Gonzo anime series from a couple years back, it was a celebratory anime for them, they're making, and they're going to premiere it at Anime Expo out in California. So that's a bit of a surprise. So if you're going to be at Anime Expo, you can catch the very beginning of the new Last Exile anime, which will be called Last Exile Ginyoku no Fam, Fam the Silver Wing. So it'll be premiered over the July 1st through 4th holiday weekend. There's some lovely Ronj Murata artwork there, if you want to check that out over on the various websites like AnimeNewsNetwork.com. Let's see here. There's a new Saint Seiya CG film in the works. Kind of a surprise. Saint Seiya has not really been all that popular over here in America, but a decently popular, quite popular title over in Japan. And there's going to be a new CGI film, kind of like the Astro Boy movie, things like that, although it looks more realistic, of Saint Seiya, coming from Toei Animation. Meanwhile, the live-action Hollywood Akira movie is still moving forward. Leonardo DiCaprio is no longer attached as directly, and they're getting a new screenwriter, Steve Kloves, who was the adapter on all the Harry Potter movies except for the 5th one. He's done all of those. He is now attached to clean up the script for the new Akira movie. He also wrote Wonder Boys and the Fabulous Baker Boys, actually. So seems like a good talent there. Moving on to some more miscellaneous news, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune has reported that Funimation's net sales has estimated to have dropped over half in the past 4 years. They're now making half as much money as they did 4 years ago. That's a pretty big drop and a bit of a concern for that company. This is arguably why Navarre is looking to sell Funimation. It's just not bringing in as much money as it used to. Speaking of Funimation, follow-up to a previous story where Funimation sued 1,337 different people who had torrented One Piece, and that has gone further, and the judge has basically required them to drop all but one of those suits, because the idea is you're suing them because they're collaborating, and the judge ruled that they're not collaborating, they're behaving in an identical way. So they're not intentionally coordinating their efforts. Although technically with BitTorrent, well, anyway. There's down to one defendant on that lawsuit. Now, this does mean Funimation can still pursue the lawsuits against the other folks. They just have to do it as individual lawsuits. It's unclear as to whether this is actually all part of Funimation's plan. I mean, it's likely that they weren't actually trying to sue all those people at once. They were trying to make a statement, and this is absolutely fine with them. So we'll see. There's more details on who that actual person might be over at the AnimeNewsNetwork.com news story about this particular story. Meanwhile, back over in Japan, the 9th Durarara light novel debuted at #1 on the weekly Oricon charts, with 84,000 copies sold in 4 days. Separately, the best-selling general book on Oricon is Moshidora. This will be made into an upcoming anime series in this coming anime season. This is the story of a girl coach of a high school girls baseball team who reads Peter Drucker's book on management, which is a very famous American book on management. And she reads that thinking it's about managing a baseball team, and she decides to apply those like American business school business practices to a girls baseball team. I have no idea where it goes, but that has now sold 1.8 million copies. And the remarkable thing about that is, since Oricon started charting books back in 2008, this is now the highest-selling book that they've ever charted. That's more than the Deathly Hallows that this book series has done. So that's pretty remarkable. 1.8 million copies of a light novel. Finally, in kind of wacky news, Zune, the creator of the Touhou project, which is this whole weird doujinshi game thing. Anyway, also known as Team Shanghai Alice, the folks behind Touhou. I don't know too much about this, so just be aware. Anyway, Zune specifically has come out to update the licensing stuff around Touhou and all the Touhou characters and so forth. Basically saying that if you want to make commercial goods based on Touhou, you have to request permission first. And he actually restricted any creations of an anime series based on Touhou. Now this caused a lot of folks to ask some questions as to whether this means something's coming up. Although Zune has replied and said, basically, there's no official anime production so far and no plans for one, so that's, he said they're not planning on making an anime, but it's interesting that he came in and changed that around to explicitly restrict that from the future. So I'm assuming what that means is that Touhou has some plans for the future and they just want to hedge their bets. So we will see. Perhaps Touhou will be expanding the whole Touhou universe. Although it doesn't seem like it needs to. It's certainly popular enough. So that's all the news fit to video this week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.